Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Michael PokeOz here. Today we're going to weigh in on a bit of a debate. I've seen this being thrown around lots of different forums, whether it's YouTube, Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, it seems to be thrown around a lot. And that is that Scarlet and Violet is trash. And then there's of course defenders of it saying, well, that gets said in every generation. So I suppose the big question is, from an investing standpoint, will Scarlet and Violet ever make it? Before I delve into that topic, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. It means a lot. And also, if you want to become a channel member, that means you can email me and shoot me some direct investment related questions, I suppose related to yourself, and I'll get back to you in a timely manner. You just need to join the channel, of course, as a member. Well, in case you're wondering what the thumbnail is, the word boomer, I don't know if Americans even have this term. Or people in the UK, or people watching from anywhere other than Australia. But in Australia, a boomer is referred to as a particular generation, probably people that were born in like the 40s and 50s that maybe bought property in the 60s and 70s for like 20 grand a house, and now they're worth like 4 million. So boomer is a term sort of given to someone starting to get on a bit in age, that probably grew up in a time that was a bit harder and also bought real estate that is still worth a heap of money. So hence the title, like, sometimes people refer to young people or people in their 30s as boomers as a joke here in Australia. So I don't know if that's a term in the US or UK or if anywhere else in Europe or America. So hey, if it hasn't, in case you're wondering what that is, that's what it means. So boomer versus new generation is, of course, us that probably grew up with Generation 1, Generation 2 Pokemon, even perhaps leading into the EX era, versus the new kids on the block, the people that are growing up with Scarlet and Violet. So the debate is always this, isn't it? Okay, there's one side of the debate that always goes, oh, well, Scarlet and Violet is trash. It's printed into the ground. The quality of printing is really poor. The new Pokemon are just weird. They look like dinosaurs. They look like Digimon. You sort of hear it all. Like, it's never going to go up in value. The boxes are already so far below MSRP, it's not a joke. Then you hear the other side of the argument, which is, of course, everyone says this about every new generation of Pokemon cards that comes out. And look, every single generation proves it wrong. People were saying that about Sword and Shield. Now look at Sword and Shield. People were saying that about Sun and Moon. Now look at Sun and Moon. People were saying that about X and Y. And now look at things like even Evolutions, where, for years it was sitting on shelves at retail price on clearance. And people were saying it's never going to go up. It's a trashy reprint of the base set. It's nothing. And so you get what I'm saying, okay? You can see two sides of the argument. Now, I suppose I want to present my point because, of course, this is a Pokemon card investing channel. And I suppose a lot of people will say, oh, like Michael or PokeOz, you always pump up Sword and Shield. And that's because I see that having massive growth over the coming years. And the whole idea is to pass on advice. And I'd be stupid to say, oh, go buy Obsidian Flames because in the next 3 years you're going to 4x your money. I just don't think that's going to happen. However, if you bought Lost Origin or Fusion Strike, you might 3x your money in the next 4 years, possibly. So that's why, like, the whole idea is I pass on advice to you guys. That's the whole idea behind the channel, is Pokemon investing content or / collecting content. So anyway, let's look at or unpack those sides of the argument. I think the naysayers for Scarlet and Violet do have some points, okay? The print quality for Scarlet and Violet is evident. I've done the maths regarding total submissions versus PSA 10 returns. So total submissions to PSA versus PSA 10 returns, and total submissions from Sword and Shield versus PSA returns. And it's clear that PSA 10 returns for Sword and Shield is stronger than Scarlet and Violet. And you can't say, oh, well, people throughout Sword and Shield were only submitting perfect condition cards and they were going straight from pack to soft loader to top loader and sent to PSA, because you could say that surely the exact same thing's happening in Scarlet and Violet. So the only thing that would suggest is perhaps print quality is down for Scarlet and Violet. People saying the artwork is trash. I disagree with that, but I'll get onto that in the other point for the for argument. So a lot of these against arguments, okay, it's sitting well below MSRP. Well, you could also argue that's a bit of a sign of the times, isn't it? So I guess straight away, I want to move on to the positive side of the argument, because quite often I think people get so negative on new sets, they forget the bigger picture. Now, first of all, I'd like to say the bigger picture is really probably holding on to something for more than 12 months. That whole flipping side of thing, like that is just, it was never good for the hobby. It should never have happened. The flipping, scalping side of it is just sad, for lack of a better word, because it kept kids away from the hobby and enjoying the hobby. And that was the worst part of it, okay? Those days are gladly behind us. So if we turn the argument to some of the good points, okay, yes, print quality isn't great. When it comes to the artwork, people saying the artwork's trash. No, it's not. I can assure you it's not. Let me just flash up some of the new artwork from Scarlet and Violet, be it the latest set in Temporal Forces, be it cards from Paradox Rift, be it cards from base model Scarlet and Violet, where we saw the two new legendaries in Miraidon and Coridon. Okay, the artwork for Scarlet and Violet is actually stunning. Okay, the artists are doing a fantastic job. There's plenty of Pokemon card sites where you can log in and see artists' work across the years, and I think Scarlet and Violet era has absolutely nailed the artwork. I don't think there's any argument against the artwork, particularly from my point of view. I think it's stunning. Hats off. Like, look at the artwork, it's good. Does it, here's a big question, does it slap as hard as a Sword and Shield old art? Nah. I don't get why. For some reason though, it just doesn't to me. It doesn't slap as hard as a Sword and Shield old art. Now, some of the other things, okay, some of the other positives, and to put a positive spin on some of the negatives. People are saying, box prices are so far below MSRP, it's just an absolute joke. Like, you can pick up Obsidian Flames for 85, 90 US or whatever it might be. They're like 150 Australian here on special. Like, it's almost at wholesale price for a consumer, even if you don't have access to a distributor. Like, it's just bonkers how cheap they are. You've got to remember, it's also a reflection of the economic times, okay? My industry, which is the car industry, is experiencing some difficulties at the moment. We aren't riding the volume of sales that we were riding 3 years ago, even 12 months ago, okay? The economy for us in a lot of places has slowed down. A lot of the businesses I talk to, okay, work's becoming a little bit harder to find. They've got to quote up against other jobs now. So the economy as a whole is starting to slow down. And I don't think we can say that is just a reflection of poor design, poor artwork, poor setup from Scarlet and Violet. It's more a reflection of the economy as a whole, okay? There's not as much spare money going around just to spend on Pokemon cards. There's not stimulus checks going out. So the fact that they're talking about maybe slowing down the printers, okay, it's just a reflection of the times. It's not a reflection of Scarlet and Violet. And to say that it is, I think is a bit one-sided, because I really don't think it is. Well, what are some other positive points? I suppose the big positive when it comes to those pricing is you can pick up some booster boxes at some super cheap prices at the moment. And think about the level of risk you've got involved in picking up booster boxes at basically wholesale or distribution price. Okay, your risk level is literally next to nothing. Let's talk Australian dollars for a second. If you can get an Obsidian Flames booster box on special for $155 posted to your door, I mean, is it a good investment? Probably not. Does it have much downside risk? Next to nothing. Like, is that box ever going to go down to $130? Oh, geez, I highly, highly doubt it. That is going to make it so far below like distribution price, it's not funny. Is it going to go down to like, that's like $70, $75 US. So the positive spin on that is, that booster boxes are just such a competitive price for Scarlet and Violet. Am I saying go invest in them because you're going to 3x your money in the next 3 years? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying there is such little downside risk at Paldea Evolved at 100, Obsidian Flames at 95, Paradox Rift at 95. Like, there's just such little downside risk. And the other side of the argument, when people are saying, well, look at all the older sets, okay? Look at XY, look at Sun and Moon, look at Sword and Shield. Everyone's talking trash about those, and then all of a sudden, you know what? They start going to the moon and people start FOMOing and picking them up. And I can guarantee you, I don't think it'll be anytime soon. Like, don't expect it in a year. Don't expect it probably even in 2 years. But perhaps in 3 years' time, okay, we could see some of these Scarlet and Violet sets really taking an uptick. Okay, don't forget, 30th anniversary is not too far around the corner. There is some fantastic artwork in Scarlet and Violet, and is it the best investment right now? No. Will it go up eventually? Yes. Is the artwork good? Yes. Are the people saying these sets are trash wrong? Yes. They're not trash sets, okay? Could it do with more Gen 1, Gen 2, and Gen 3 Pokemon to help us boomers get back into the hobby because they're the Pokemon we love as chase cards? Yes, it damn well could do with more of those. And I really hope the second half of Scarlet and Violet injects our Rayquazas, our Umbreons, our Lugias, Feraligatrs, Typhlosions, Charizard. He gets overused. You get what I'm saying? We can inject more of those Gen 1, 2, 3 popular Pokemon into Scarlet and Violet as chase cards, coupled with the collection, of course, of all these new Gen 9 Pokemon. And that's going to make the latter half of Scarlet and Violet absolutely brilliant. If they can do that, I think they'll ride through this quite a time in the Pokemon world, or I suppose the world economic situation as a whole, and come out the back end really positively. Well, I suppose that's my take on it. I'm Michael. This is Pokey Oz. I'll catch everyone next time.